Welcome back to my channel. I bring to a disturbing and shocking story. Kent Navarro is an American economist who served in the Trump administration as the assistant to the president, director of trade and manufacturing policy, and the National Defense Production Act policy coordinator. He previously served as a deputy assistant to the president and director of the White House National Trade Council, a newly created entity in the White House office, until it was folded into the Office of Trade and Manufacturing Policy, a new role established by executive order in April 2017. After Joe Biden won the 2020 presidential election and Donald Trump refused to concede, Navarro advanced conspiracy theories of election fraud and in February 2022 was subpoenaed twice by Congress. One subpoena required him to produce documents to the House Select Committee on the January 6 attack, the other subpoena required him to give testimony to the committee. Navarro was born on July 15, 1949, in Cambridge, Massachusetts. His father, Albert Al Navarro, a saxophonist and clarinetist, led a house band, which played summers in New Hampshire and winters in Florida. After his parents divorced when he was 9 or 10, he lived with his mother, Evelyn Littlejohn, a Saks Fifth Avenue secretary, in Palm Beach, Florida. On September 5, 2023, a jury was seated. 3 former congressional committee staffers testified as prosecution witnesses. Navarro declined to testify in his own defense or to offer any witnesses for the defense. Navarro's lawyer was Stanley Woodward Jr. After a 2-day trial, Navarro was convicted on both counts of contempt of Congress. The jury rejected Navarro's argument that he had not willfully refused to comply with the subpoena. Navarro was the second ex-Trump aide to be convicted of contempt of Congress. Bannon had been convicted of the same offense the preceding year. On January 16, 2024, a federal judge denied Navarro's request for a new trial. On January 25, Navarro was sentenced to 4 months in prison and ordered to pay a fine of $9,500. He immediately filed an appeal. Judge Mehta in the appeals court denied his request to stay out of prison during the appeal. In court papers on March 10, Navarro's lawyer said his client was ordered to report to a Miami federal prison by March 19. In March 2023, U.S. District Judge Colleen Collar-Cotelli ordered Navarro to promptly turn over the records, ruling that Navarro had a plain duty to turn over the records to NARA under the Presidential Records Act, which requires government business-related messages on personal accounts to be forwarded to official accounts within 20 business days. Navarro is appealing to the U.S. Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit. In April 2023, the D.C. Circuit unanimously denied Navarro's request for a stay of the district court's order, writing, "There is no public interest in Navarro's retention of the records, and Congress has recognized that the public has an interest in the nation's possession and retention of presidential records." After the appeals court denied Navarro's stay request, Judge Collar-Cotelli ordered Navarro to turn over the 200 to 250 records and to conduct searches for additional presidential records. In February 2024, Collar-Cotelli said she would appoint a magistrate judge and consider holding Navarro in contempt to ensure his compliance. Navarro has been a staunch critic of trade with China and strong proponent of reducing U.S. trade deficits. He has attacked Germany, Japan and China for their currency manipulation. He has called for increasing the size of the American manufacturing sector, setting high tariffs, and repatriating global supply chains. He was a fierce opponent of the Trans-Pacific Partnership. According to Bloomberg News, Navarro had roots as a mainstream economist. He voiced support for free trade in his 1984 book The Policy Game. He changed his positions as he saw the globalist erosion of the American economy develop. He would later become a critic of the North American Free Trade Agreement. In August 2019, Navarro asserted the tariffs of the ongoing China-United States trade war were not hurting Americans. Citing extensive evidence to the contrary, PolitiFact rated Navarro's assertion pants on fire. According to Politico, Navarro is perhaps the most extreme advocate in Washington, and maybe in all of economics, for an aggressive stance toward China. Navarro put his attention to China in the mid-2000s. His first publication on the subject is the 2006 book The Coming China Wars, Where They Will Be Fought, How They Can Be Won. Navarro has said that he started to examine China when he noticed that his former students were losing jobs, concluding that China was at fault. Navarro has framed trade as a national security risk. Navarro has characterized foreign purchases of U.S. companies as a threat to national security, but according to NPR, this is a fringe view that puts him at odds with the vast majority of economists. Dartmouth economist Douglas Irwin noted that the U.S. government already reviews foreign purchases of companies with military or strategic value, and has on occasion rejected such deals. Irwin said that Navarro had not substantiated his claim with any evidence. Navarro is a proponent of the notion that trade deficits are bad in and of themselves, a view which is widely rejected by trade experts and economists. In a white paper co-authored with Wilbur Ross, Navarro stated, "When a country runs a trade deficit by importing more than it exports, this subtracts from growth." In a Wall Street Journal op-ed defending his views, Navarro stated, "If we are able to reduce our trade deficits through tough, smart negotiations, we should be able to increase our growth." Navarro said in March 2017 that TPP would have been a death knell to America's auto and vehicle parts industry that we urgently need to bring back to full life. Politico's Jacob Heilbrunn and The Economist argue that there may be a disconnect between Navarro's policy on China and his opposition to the TPP, as scuttling the TPP will strengthen China's hand. In 2001, Navarro married Leslie LeBon, a California architect. The couple lived in Laguna Beach with LeBon's son from a previous marriage while Navarro was a professor at UC Irvine. In late 2018, LeBon filed for divorce in Orange County. Their divorce became final in December 2020. Please subscribe, comment, like, share, and follow for more content. If you would like to support my channel, please send it to Cash App $Director 327. Thank you for your gift. It is greatly appreciated.